Hello travelers, welcome to AlexTar Travelog, and today we are in Rome. Rome is the capital city and a special commune of Italy as well as the capital of the Lazio region. The city has been a major human settlement for over 2 millennia. Rome is the most popular tourist destination in Italy. Around 9 million international tourists visit Rome each year, ranking it among the most visited cities. Most flights arrive to Leonardo da Vinci International Airport. It's located about 30 minutes from city center. There are several ways to get to the downtown: train, bus and taxi. A bus is the cheapest. Few transportation companies provide their services to help tourists to reach Rome: Cotral, Terravision, CIT, Bus, Shuttle and others. We chose Terravision Bus, it was the cheapest. Depending on time of your flight arrival, it will take about 45 minutes and €9 for round trip. Most buses arrive to Termini station. That's why here you will find hundreds of hotels and apartments for various price range. I recommend you to start your journey from Piazza della Republicca. You will find it on 5-minute distance from Termini. After the sunset, this square is the most charming with classical buildings on both sides of Via Nazionale Street. Here you may enjoy beautiful fountain of the Naiads. The fountain depicts 4 bronze Naiads, a horse, dragon and a sea monster, erected in 1901. San Martino ai Monti Church was our next stop on the way to Colosseum. It's not far from Termini too. The Basilica was founded by Pope Sylvester I in the 1st century. The church isn't popular among tourists, so it's quiet and relaxing inside. Monumental 3-tiered Roman amphitheater once used for gladiatorial games, Colosseum. Italy's most visited monument has become an icon by its exceptional architecture. It stands in the archaeological heart of Rome and welcomes large numbers of visitors daily. The building became known as the Colosseum because of a colossal statue that stood nearby. Arch of Constantine is a 21-meter-high Roman structure stands here too. After passing Circus Maximus and Palatine Hill, you will reach Temple of Hercules, Victor, Tempio di Portuno, Casa dei Cassensi, Arch of Janus and Mouth of Truth. Marcello Theater is a Roman theater started by Julius Caesar and predating the Colosseum, the setting for summer concerts. You can't miss it, it's directly across the street from the Capitoline Museum. Campidoglio is Hilltop Square designed by Michelangelo, lined with museums and offering views of the Roman Forum. Palazzo Nuovo, Senatorial Palace and Capitoline museums are here, decorated with amazing Cardonata Capitolina stairs and Fontana della Dea Roma fountain. Here is the best viewpoint to enjoy the beauty of Roman Forum. The various monuments were built through the centuries, first the buildings for political, religious and commercial activities, then during the 2nd century the civil basilicas. The various dynasties of emperors added only prestigious monuments, the temple of Vespasian and Titus and that of Antonius Pius and Faustina and the monumental arch of Septimius Severus. For €16 ticket you can visit Colosseum, Roman Forum and Imperial Forums. Victor Emmanuel II monument is a grand marble classical temple honoring Italy's first king and First World War soldiers. It occupies a side between the Piazza Venezia and the Capitoline Hill. Its design is a neoclassical interpretation of the Roman Forum. It features stairways, Corinthian columns, fountains, an equestrian sculpture of Victor Emmanuel II, and 2 statues of the goddess Victoria riding on quadrigas. The view from the top is magnificent. You even can see Vatican St.Peter's Basilica from here. Entrance is absolutely free for everyone. There is also a museum inside with some historical relics. There is a further lift available for admiring Rome from the top. It is not cheap, but still worth the visit. Walk around the building and you will see all the beauty of Rome. Piazza Venezia Square with an elaborate Victorian monument known as the Typewriter by locals and Palazzo Venezia. Is an iconic temple built about 2000 years ago with a dome and Renaissance tombs, including Raphael's. On the square there is a Fontana del Pantheon, 16th century fountain with ornate marble dolphins and an obelisk. This magnificent dome is a lasting testimony to the genius of Roman architects. It's free for everyone, that's why it's so popular among tourists. Usually there is a line of people, but it moves fast. On 300 meters from Pantheon, you will find one of the most famous squares, Piazza Navona. In the very center there is a famous Fiumi fountain. Classical 17th century fountain, a homage to 4 rivers featuring a Roman obelisk topped by a dove. It was designed in 1651 by Gian Lorenzo Bernini for Pope Innocent X, whose family palace, the Palazzo Pamphili, faced onto the piazza. Collectively, the statues represent 4 major rivers of the 4 continents, the Nile representing Africa, the Danube, Europe, the Ganges, Asia, and the Rio de la Plata, the Americas. If you have time for shopping, I recommend Galleria Alberto Sordi. It's only 200 meters from Trevi Fountain. Designed in the early 1900s, this distinguished arcade features designer retail shops and restaurants. Of course, it's impossible to visit Rome without Trevi Fountain. Aqueduct-fed Rococo fountain designed by Nicola Salvi and completed in 1762 with sculpted figures. On the way to Vatican, you can enjoy beautiful banks of the Rio Tiber and bridges above it. You can cross the river on the bridge in front of Supreme Court, architecturally ornate home to the highest Italian Court of Appeals. Vatican starts from St.Peter Square for everyone who comes here. Landmark square with columns, fountains, and Egyptian obelisk where crowds gather for post address. Both the square and the basilica are named after St. Peter, an apostle of Jesus considered by Catholics to be the first pope. Gian Lorenzo Bernini designed the square. Via della Conciliazione leads right to the square. St. Peter's Basilica is a late Renaissance church by architects including Michelangelo and holding up to 20,000 worshippers. It is believed to be the burial place of St. Peter. The interior of St. Peter's is filled with many art masterpieces, among the most famous of which are Michelangelo's Piazza della Republicca by Bernini over the main altar. The origin church was built in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine. Admission is free to St. Peter's Basilica, and you do not need a ticket to enter. If you are lucky, you may visit the cathedral during public mass, which is attended only by Vatican citizens. Everyone can listen to organ music and wine. The most impressive parts of the basilica is its incredible dome. Its design was started by Michelangelo and continued by Giacomo della Porta. Carlo Moderno finished the dome in 1614. This dome was served as inspiration from many other cathedrals and buildings, for example the Capitol in Washington and St. Paul's Cathedral in London. You mustn't miss out on climbing to the top of the dome, where a stunning view of St. Peter's Square and, if the day is clear, of most of the city. Climbing to the top of the dome on a lift to the terrace plus 320 steps cost €8. Climbing 551 steps by foot, €6. Climbing to the top might prove to be a little oppressive for some, but the last part of the ascent is a narrow and steep spiral staircase. So be ready for a hard climbing and the same difficult way down, but it is well worth the effort. We left Rome by the same way as we arrived, Terraligian bus. I recommend you to book bus tickets online because you will always know the bus schedule. Even if you are late, your ticket is still valid on other buses. Thank you for watching. Let's discover the world together.